Hi everyone, and welcome to Getting the Most Out of Reports webinar. My name is Sam, and I'm the Client Success Coach here at PaintScout. Today we're going to be taking a look at the PaintScout reporting feature, and I want to discuss, why reports matter and how you can use reports to make data-driven decisions in your business. And we will also be doing a Q&A session at the end of the webinar today, so feel free to drop your questions in the chat, and I'll get to them at the end. So before we actually hop in, I do just want to chat about, why reports matter. So essentially, reports matter because they provide actionable insights that help you make informed decisions and just run a more efficient and profitable business. And so as we take a look into each report today, I do want to discuss, what actionable insights you can pull from each one. So I think we're ready to get started. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here, pull up PaintScout. Perfect. So first thing, I'm on my dashboard page here. To get to the reports section in PaintScout, you're going to go ahead and click on that reports button you're going to see in the top right-hand corner of your screen. So that's going to open up the reports section. Now, I want to take an in-depth look into all the key reports in PaintScout. So let's just go ahead and get started with this accepted estimates report. Just some things that I do want to point out here that will apply to multiple reports. The first is if there's any graphs or charts or anything like that on your PaintScout report and you want to make them bigger, you can just click on that little box from the top right-hand corner here, and that's going to expand it for you. The next thing is that you can always hover your mouse over your graphs and charts here, and it's going to show you the numerical value that contributes to that stat. And so if we scroll down, you can also see that information just from this summary section here. And you can hover your mouse over these at any point and you'll be able to see those numbers. The next thing I just want to point out is that in reporting, you're going to have your filter on the right-hand side. So this varies depending on the report that you're looking at, but essentially filtering is great because you can kind of just filter to see the data that's actually relevant to your specific business metrics. And when you use the filter, it will apply to these graphs and charts, and it's also going to apply to the summary down here. So for this specific report for accepted estimates, you're going to see that you can filter by date of acceptance, you can filter by type, you can filter by acceptance method. Now I just want to take a second to go over this because there's sent, preview, and manual. And so sent means that the estimate was accepted by the customer through a link that they received. So whether that be through email or text, etc. Preview is going to be that the estimate was accepted through preview and accept mode. So AKA you're presenting on site. And then the last is manual, which just means that the status was manually changed in PaintScout. Now you can also filter by user. You can filter by total, so whether that's a minimum, maximum, or both, and then you can filter by contact as well. While we're here, I also just want to quickly point out this send feedback button. So obviously reporting in PaintScout is a somewhat newer feature, so we do really appreciate any and all feedback. So as you're playing around with these reports here, you will notice that send feedback button. If you go ahead and click on it, it's going to open up this form for you to fill out. So definitely go through, give us your feedback, and we'll take a peek at it. And you'll be able to see that in any of your reports here. Perfect. So next up is just your export button. And so using this button, it's going to go ahead and download a CSV file of your summary here. So just a couple things to point out. The first is obviously when you're using this filter over here, it will apply to the summary down here and therefore will also apply to what you're exporting here. The second is that when it exports, it's just going to download as a CSV file for you, and then you can go ahead and open it on your preferred application, whether that be Excel or Numbers. So now let's actually take a peek into the summary here. So the first is the date it was accepted, then you're going to have the estimate ID, you'll have the type, the contact, and then the acceptance method. So that's the same as what we spoke about up here. You're also going to see the user, and then you're going to see the total. And if there's anything on here that you don't particularly need to see, you can just hit these 3 columns on the right-hand side here. If you click on this button, that goes ahead and it opens up this section for you where you can remove any items that you don't want to see. Perfect. So let's kind of get into some key business questions that you can answer with accepted estimates report. So The first is, do you close like more jobs on the spot, or do you close more by sending it after the fact? And so you can really dive deep into that and kind of determine, hey, maybe I should be presenting on the spot more often because I close more jobs that way. You can also determine, which jobs you sell more. So obviously here we can see that we sell a lot more exterior than interior. And that might be totally normal depending on your location, but just pay attention to it. Is there anything that we need to, fix in our interior estimation process to improve that number? You can also pay attention to your average job size. So here we clearly close all jobs that are below $5,000. So just think about that and maybe how can I train my team to close jobs that are larger? And then also just pay attention to seasonality data. So obviously you can use your filter over here to filter by date. So kind of pay attention and try and figure out, hey, what month do I sell the most jobs? And then from there, you're going to leverage your seasonality trends. Perfect. So obviously a lot of great data that you can pull from this report alone and make data-driven decisions. But let's just go ahead and hop into declined estimates next. Perfect. So first things first, on decline estimates here, you can see a graph for your decline estimates by estimate type. You can also see a graph by job size. So your filters are going to be pretty much similar to the accepted estimates, the one that we just took a peek at. And your summary down here is going to include the decline date, the estimate ID, the type, the contact, the user, and then you're also going to have this reason column. So when a customer declines an estimate in PaintScout, they are prompted to go ahead and leave a reason. So if they do, that's going to be posted here for you. Also, if you manually change the status to declined in PaintScout, you have a box where you can enter a status or a reason for the status change. And so if you enter that, that's going to appear here as well. So you're going to see both in this column. And then also you're going to have the total column and then, the three pillars just like last time to kind of adjust that. So some key business questions we can ask ourselves with this report here. What estimate types do I lose the most? So kind of the same as, our accepted estimates. We really just want to pay attention here to the fact that our interior estimates are higher than our exterior estimates. So really dive deep into that, kind of determine, hey, am I bidding my interior estimates correctly? Am I providing enough value when I present my interior estimates? So just really like dive into that. You can also pay attention to what job size you lose the most. So this one is also below $5,000. So that just could be an indicator that maybe we need to start bidding some larger jobs. Another really great thing that you can pull from this report is by using this reason column here. So using this reason column, you can really narrow down what your most common objections are. So obviously here we can see that we have 2 people who said that the price was too high. So using that information, let's go ahead and train our sales staff on how to handle that particular objection. Just, make sure that they know how to handle that. And then same thing with this other one here that says they decided to do the painting themselves. Great, let's teach our sales staff how to provide enough value so the customer understands why they would hire a professional painting company over doing it themselves. Perfect. And then the last thing I just want to point out here is just, following up on your declined estimates. Obviously, this keeps all of your declined estimates in one place, so you can just really keep an eye on everything that's going on here. Determine, which customers you should follow up with. And then don't forget to use the data that we already learned here to kind of figure out how we should combat their objections. So basically, hey, is there anything that I can remove from this estimate that you don't necessarily need so that way it fits your budget better? Or again, can I prove to you that, hiring a professional painting company is just going to be a lot easier than you having to do it yourself, and here's why. So that's everything for our declined estimates. Let's hop into the options accepted report. Perfect. So this report gives you a clear snapshot of all the options your customer has self-accepted. So in the main table, you're going to find details like the acceptance date, the estimate ID, the contact, the type, the user, and the total. So some key business questions we can ask ourselves here. What is the average value of my accepted options? So first thing I'm noticing is that we've got 3 here that are below $700. Maybe that's an indicator that my customers tend to accept options if they're lower. So maybe instead of offering these huge option packages, I should split it up, We can also pay attention to the team members and see who closes the most options. Obviously, we have Joe here who's killing it. He's closed 3 of them. So what can I learn from him and what can I pass on from him to the rest of my sales team? How can I train them better? Great. Okay. Let's go into estimator performance. Now, this is a really fun report. So this one is going to help you track each of your users' sales performances and compare it with the rest of your team. So the first thing you're going to see is a detailed view of your team's monthly sales broken down by estimator. So obviously you can see how much revenue each person brought in. And then next you can see how many dollars each salesperson sold month over month. So some key business questions we can ask ourselves here is how are my sales staff doing? Who are my top performers? Who's doing the most estimates? Who does the larger bids in value? Because obviously if we take a peek here, we have Jane who's at $38,000, but Joe's not that far behind her at $36,000 and he's only done 6 estimates. So probably a good indicator that if we gave Joe more estimates, he's going to close more jobs, right? We can also see that Joe is clearly better at closing bigger bids, or he just receives bigger bids, So just paying attention and, trying to figure out how can we, improve our training process, make sure that everybody's on the same page and everybody is performing at the best of their ability. Yeah, so really great for identifying training needs. Perfect. So now we're looking at the outstanding invoices report. So this report is going to provide a comprehensive summary of all of your outstanding invoices, and it makes it really easy to stay on top of your accounts receivable and just make sure you're getting paid on time, which everybody loves. So you can use this graph and view the statuses of the outstanding invoices. So whether it's, partial, sent, or viewed. And then if we scroll down here, you're going to be able to see the amount paid versus the balance due. So some key business questions we can talk about here. How many of my invoices are outstanding? Are there any invoices that I should have received payment for, but I didn't? Do I have a particular team member who leaves invoices outstanding for a long time? So just really great to keep an eye on everybody on your team and, make sure everything's going well. Perfect. Let's hop into additional work. So this report provides an overview of all the approved extra work, aka change orders, included in your estimates and invoices. So this is going to depend on your workflow because some people only do change orders, aka additional work, on invoices. Some people only do them on estimates. Some people do them on both. So it might look different depending on your workflow. But you're going to see the date accepted. You're going to see the invoice ID, the estimate ID, the contact, the type, the user, and then the total. So some questions that we can answer with this specific report: how often does additional work get added? What's the average size of my additional work? And then who sells the most additional work? So really similar to that options added report, just, keeping an eye on your team, see who's doing better, and then use that for training purposes. Obviously, again, we can see that we tend to close a lot of like smaller additional work rather than larger additional work. So just keeping that in mind. Perfect. Let's go through and look at the payments collected section. So this report here is all about staying on top of your finances. So first up, we can obviously see the payment by method. So we have check versus e-transfer here. And then we're also going to have the total payments over a period of time. So these reports here are more so just great for bookkeeping and the accounting sides of things. But an example of a key business question is, what is my most common payment method and can I offer a payment method discount? So obviously, if you have a payment method that's really high and you maybe want to lower that one, can we provide, a payment method discount if they decide to pay by this other way? And then, moving from there. Perfect. Let's go into payment requests. So this report here was designed to help you monitor and then manage your payment requests. So whether you're awaiting payment or you just need to stay on top of the request that you have been paid, this feature just provides you with a clear and concise summary of all of your payment requests. So using the filters over here, you can break it down by status. And what I mean by status is either pending or paid. And then again, just going to be great for, accounting purposes, the bookkeeping side of things, and just staying on top of your finances, seeing where everything's at. Great, and we just have one more to go through here. So it's just going to be this all activity report. So this is just how it sounds. It's basically an overview of all the activity that's happening in your account. So for estimates and for invoices, you can see when they were created, restored, manually updated, sent out, archived. You can also see when payments were made. This is also going to record when thank you messages were sent, if estimate types were changed, if warnings appeared, if payments were marked as received. Basically just an overview of like absolutely all the actions that are happening in your account. And this report, because it just gives you an overview of everything, it's just really great for keeping an eye on everyone on your team. Just making sure that, everybody's doing what they're supposed to, that they're not like overrating prices when they're not supposed to. Yeah, so just keeping an eye on everyone and everything, making sure everything looks good and normal. Beautiful. So that is everything I had for you today. So I'm going to go ahead and open the floor to questions now. So please feel free to drop them in the chat and I'm going to go through them here. Can we import data from QuickBooks to the invoicing feature? I like the automated feature of reminders. Gotcha. So our QuickBooks integration is actually only one way. So we speak to QuickBooks, but QuickBooks doesn't speak to us. It is something that might be possible through Zapier, which is like a platform that would connect QuickBooks to PaintScout, but I'm not 100% sure on that, Paul. So I would have to look into that for you and then get back to you. Paul, yeah, I can go through and I can show you how to add additional work. So I'm in a PaintScout estimate here. Let me open up this one. So this is an estimate that's already been sent. You're going to see it's also been accepted. And so again, additional work is like a change order. So oftentimes additional work is going to be applied to accepted estimates because you're basically adding on additional work to your contract. So if you need to add additional work, what you're going to do is first you're going to have to click on your estimate to edit it. And that's going to open up edit mode. And you can go through and, add whatever your additional work is. So if we want to go through and let me just quickly build out, let's just say we're doing a deck here. I would enter my dimensions, hit confirm. Let me just say we're doing the decking. Perfect. So good to go. We have the deck added. Now what you're going to want to do is hit the three dots on the right-hand side and choose make option, which then moves it down to the option section for you. And we're going to do that one more time. Hit the three dots on the right-hand side and choose move to additional work. And so what that does is it moves it up to this additional work section, which obviously requires a signature because we're making a change to an accepted estimate. So if I go into preview and accept mode here, you're going to see from your customer's point of view, they're now going to have that big button that says accept additional work. They can also click on this orange button here. But either way, they're going to have to go through and just sign for that additional work or that change order. Obviously, once that's done, it's going to show that these are additional items that have been added. It gives you the date also with a signature. And then if we go to your activity feed here, you can obviously see when the additional work was accepted with a copy of the signature as well. Can Pipeline and PaintScout link to each other? Yes, yes, they can. We do have a direct integration with them. I can make sure that I get an article to you after that walks you through how to set up that connection. Is there any way to do job costing in PaintScout and have it reflect in reports? In other words, can we input actual payout data? Currently, no, there's nowhere to keep track of job costing in PaintScout. That said, most people use this as part of a tech stack, right? So they're going to have another software that mostly works with job costing. Yeah. Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, Rich, I can definitely show you here. We'll just speed run it again. Okay, so essentially adding additional work. Here, let me pick a different estimate. Adding additional work is like adding a change order. So if you need to add additional work, first thing you're going to have to click on the estimate to edit it. Then you're going to add whatever the additional work is. So let me just say we're doing a deck again. I'm adding this deck. Let me just enter whatever the dimensions are. Hitting confirm, adding my decking. Perfect. So I have my deck built out. What I'm going to want to do from there is hit 3 dots on the right-hand side, and I'm going to choose make option. And so that moves it down to the option section. Once it's here, you're going to hit the 3 dots one more time, and you're going to choose move to additional work. And so what that does is it moves it up to this pending additional work section. And that's because it requires a signature, because we're essentially making a change to an accepted estimate. So from here, from your customer's point of view, when they go ahead and they open up the estimate, they are going to see that accept additional work button, or they'll see that orange text down here that says option approval required, which then prompts them to obviously sign it and accept that additional work. Once it's been accepted, it does move up to that additional items, and then you'll be able to see the history of the signature and everything here. You can also see that we've done 2 additional works, which is cool. Yeah, so your customer can accept additional work if it's in the additional work section, right? Options need to be added before the estimate is accepted. So if we add if we add something to the option section, so we have that front side stucco in the option section. And then we go to preview and accept. My customer can clearly see that it's in the option section, but they don't have the ability to press that plus button because the estimate's already been accepted. So the idea with additional work is that, first of all, you want to request a signature because the estimate's already been accepted. And second of all, at this point, it's a change order, right? So what you're doing is just hitting the 3 dots and choosing that move to additional work. And then your customer has the ability to go through and sign for that additional work. Is it possible to add 2 products to a production rate? We do have a feature in beta testing that we can enable for you that will allow you to add 2 products to a production rate. So we'll make a note of that and make sure to get that on for you. You have a client who does not use the internet or the computer. What is the best procedure to make the estimate and acceptance electronically? Well, if they don't use the computer, I mean, you could always present on site, right? The idea is hopefully you'll have like your tablet or your phone with you. You can present on site with them. You can go through it with them. And then if they do want to accept the estimate, the idea is you're just turning your tablet around and you're getting them to sign that. And at that point, everything's going to be electronic. If that's not the case, you can always print off the estimate for them and provide them with the copy. If they decide to call you and they tell you want to move ahead with it, I would get a physical signature, and then you can just make a note of that in here in PaintScout to just say like, hey, it's been accepted. I have a physical copy of the signature, but it's just not signed here in PaintScout. Just want to say thank you so much, everybody, for joining. I really, really appreciate it. We all appreciate it. Couple things. I will be sending a link to the recording once that becomes available. So just look out for that. It's also going to be posted on YouTube when it's ready to go. And I will also be sending out a feedback survey. So once you receive that, please go ahead and fill that out. We really appreciate all the feedback. And then last thing is just make sure to join the PaintScout Pros group on Facebook, so that way you don't miss any notifications about upcoming webinars. So that's everything I have for you. Thank you again so much for joining, and I'm sure I will connect with most of you guys soon. So have a good day.